Hey guys, David Ramirez here. Thanks for joining me here on Drumming with Dave, my new YouTube channel. I hope everyone's doing really well. And I just wanted to start off by giving you a little introduction video before we get into the actual exercises and playing. If you have a homeschooler or if you're a very first time beginner and you're trying to figure out, hey, how do I start? Well, this is what this video is all about. I'm going to keep most of my descriptives and all the things that I'll be talking about very basic and general at first. So we won't be getting into too many specific and customized details. We're going to go just to the meat and potatoes. So just keep that in mind. And if you're looking for something more advanced, I will be coming out with a couple of different series of videos for the more advanced drummer. So just FYI. Don't forget to subscribe, and again, don't forget to pass the word. So what do we need to start with? Well, the most common thing is sticks. That's the first thing you want to do. If you don't already have a pair of sticks, let me explain a little bit about choosing the right pair of sticks for yourself or for your student. First of all, I will explain how sticks are categorized into sizes and start with the most fundamental and basically more traditional sizes that have transcended all these last few decades. But before I do, I want to say if you do have a student that's around 6, 7, or 8 years old or younger, you might want to keep in mind that whatever stick you decide to use, you want to keep it on the lighter and smaller side at first. They can graduate to a bigger stick later. If you have a student from about 10 years and up, you go ahead and find what's comfortable for them. Now, as far as what's comfortable in sizes, the pair of sticks I have here is categorized size-wise by the term 5A, the number 5 and the letter A, which is a real general category of size. Now, the sizes I'm going to describe for you are going to go from smallest to largest, and again, these are the very beginning traditional categories or sizes. You have what's called a 7A, which is a pretty small and light and thin stick, a 5A, like this one, the 5A's big brother, the 5B. You also have what's called a 2B, which is a much bigger stick, and then sometimes still today, but especially a couple decades ago, they had what was called a 3S, which was used a lot for primarily field drumming or marching drumming. So those are the fundamental traditional sizes. Now, today, there are hundreds of customized designs and sizes. One of the more frequent ones are things like 8D is another common one in the last few decades, or field sticks are sometimes considered to be under names of instructors. So there's a lot of different customized sizes out there these days. But with the first 7A, 5A, 5B, 2B, and most likely 3S, you can't go wrong. And the reason why those are fundamental and the tradition of those sizes are important to know is because no matter what company of stick or what brand of stick you use, those categories or those sizes are pretty much recognized by every company. Now, the sticks I use are Innovative Percussion. They're good friends of mine. I happen to be sponsored with them. I love this company. They've been out for a while, and they make a very good product, and they've been extremely great with me as far as their support, and they make a really good product. And so, but I'd be remiss if I didn't say there are other companies out there. So however you decide to purchase, if it's online or your local music store, just remember about those sizes, and the pricing of a pair of sticks shouldn't be anywhere more than from $10 to $20 depending on how you purchase them. Now, how do I know what's feeling right, or what should be the thing that I look for the comfort? Well, other than those sizes that we talked about, the stick is comprised with 3 elements that would really decide for you what's right. And the 3 elements are the length of a stick, the diameter or the thickness of a stick, and the weight of a stick. If you have those 3 things covered as far as what you're looking for in comfort and it feels right, you're probably on the right track. Now, I will say that as far as sticks go, just so that you understand the vocabulary of them, they're comprised of 4 basic parts. They're the butt, what we'll call the shaft or the body of the stick, the taper or the shoulder of the stick, and then the bead or the tip of the stick. And like I said, these days there are so many diverse, customized little variances on sticks. But if you go with the basic 5A, 7A, 2B, etc., you're going to find that they're fairly similar in their sizes. One of the things that I think that are probably the most diverse is especially the tip or the bead and the taper. Or the shoulder of the stick. There's so many different customizations now. You can have a round bead, a teardrop bead, a barrel bead, a BB, a small little BB, an acorn. They come quite diverse varieties. So we don't need to really worry about that. Again, you're looking for the size as far as the weight, the diameter, and the length. And that's all you have to worry about. Now, again, these are 5As that I'm using right now, and it's a good general stick. A 5A or a 5B is a good general stick. A 5B is going to be a little bit heavier than the 5A. And again, if you have a small child, a 7A, maybe a 5A, depending on how they're developing physically, or a 7A would be better for them, okay? So you can't go wrong. So the next step is, what do we hit? Okay, we have the sticks. What am I striking? Because you don't want to beat up the furniture, right? Okay, well, the most common thing we use, especially when we don't already own a drum set, is what's called a practice pad. I'm sure many of you are familiar with that term practice pad, and if you're not, let me just explain. These days, the most common idea, and this is my lovable little ghetto pad that I've just kept rigging with extra foam and duct tape, so I love it and I'm proud of it. But anyways, the most common pad these days that are out there that are just different brands, and you can find them in music stores almost all the time, are a wood base of some sort and a rubber surface, either hard rubber or soft surface, to get a tap and to be able to get rebound. Pretty basic. This one here is an old real feel, what they called a real feel pad. This one's one of my old ones from a couple of decades ago. It's a little dried out, but I like using it sometimes. Now, just for kicks, you can also have, I have here, and they make pads small like this. Again, you'll notice it's just a wood base with a rubber top. You could throw it in the backpack, that's kind of neat. And for some of you historian buffs or traditionalists, you might recognize this when you were in high school, if you had a friend that was in band learning drums. This is the old Remo pad with, as you can see, this is pretty beat up, but this is an old pad. It has the gray rim with a plastic head and foam underneath it, and even has screws where you could kind of tighten it or loosen it. It has a lot more volume, so that might not be friendly as far as volume's sake, so you don't bother anybody, but it is still around, believe it or not, and it's still very popular, especially with beginners like in middle school. So you can't go wrong with any pad you decide. The companies that are out there making pretty good ones are Real Feel, Zymox, Vic Firth. There's other brands out there, but again, depending on how you shop, you can go online or to your local music store. For something really decent, you're going to spend anywhere between $20 and $50. You might find something a little bit cheaper. It doesn't have to be perfect. It has to just be solid and dependable. Now, let me just also state there are pads out there that are much more customized, and they're made for more advanced players. They're actually, some of these pads are created to really simulate an actual drum sound. And some of those could be pretty pricey. So you don't really need to start with those if you're beginning. Just a small pad, a surface to lay it on, and you're good to go. I happen to have my pad on top of another pad on my snare stand here at my place, and this is what works for me, and it gets everything done I need to get done when it comes to working on hand technique and just learning how to get going. So those are the two elements you want to start with. It's going to be a fun little journey. I'm going to be trying to put out at least 1 or 2 videos every week. And again, I'm just calling these tip videos. They're going to be no longer than 10 to 12 minutes. And if you wanted to learn we're going to start with counting. We're going to start, why do we read music? And we're going to start learning with the basic fundamentals of tapping and just learning how to develop rhythms. And I think it's going to be a lot of fun, and it's going to be a neat way to communicate and really get going on what to do with your free time when you're maybe needing to take a break after lunch during studying online. So follow along, enjoy. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments. Once again, don't mean to beat a dead horse, but please subscribe and pass along the word. And thanks for joining me here with Drumming with Dave. Stay safe, God bless, and we'll talk to you soon.